Hello and welcome back to today's episode of the What is K-pop podcast, in which I usually talk about K-pop groups and members and like their discographies and stuff like that. I do normally talk about that sort of stuff, but today I actually wanted to talk about something a little bit more important or relevant to the current state of K-pop. Especially in regards to this year being a lot more, I would actually say a lot more scandalous than any other year in particular, yeah. So you might not be aware, might be aware, I don't know. Also, I should introduce myself quickly and actually talk about me as a person quickly. Hi, my name is Sophie. Like I said, I'm 21 years old, I have 2 cats, live with my parents, and I got into K-pop 3.5 years ago now. Really planning kind of getting to know BTS, which the hilarious thing is that it's like it's a part of the story, but I got kicked out of school kind of soon after getting into K-pop. And it wasn't because of the music or anything, but it kind of made it a lot more easier for me to gain access to the content. And so it's become my special interest. I'm autistic, so it's become my special interest. And over the past 3 years, like the 3 years before I got into podcasting, I was kind of wanting to talk more about it to people who, actually understand what I'm talking about. So I was watching YouTube one day and Eleanor Neal, she's a true crime YouTuber. She said about doing a podcast and she didn't know whether or not she wanted to do it. She was saying about how she could talk for Britain and that she'd love to do a podcast, and I thought to myself, you know what I could do? I could talk for Britain and I know exactly what I want to talk about. So I initially wanted to do about autism, true crime and K-pop, but then I thought, that's a little bit too broad of a spectrum, and I was like, well, what can I talk about that's like a little bit less like broad? And so I kind of landed on K-pop because I know the most about it. So yeah, I've done that from the end of February-ish to now. I did take a little bit of a break just like at the end of July, middle of July, for a couple of weeks, and then I was kind of getting back into it before my birthday, but then my laptop decided that it didn't want to upload a file, so I just didn't bother. And now I'm kind of getting into it a little bit more, but it's just gonna be chill now. We're not gonna try and upload every single time that I've originally said, which was Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. It might just be Wednesday and Sunday. I don't know, that sounds half decent, yeah. I also do college online. I have been doing a number of courses since leaving school. Yeah, that's kind of been my dual focus. I have a lot of stuff going on and it often ends up in me making myself stress ill. So yeah, if I talk about that then just don't mind me. Scandals in K-pop. So the hilarious thing is that I actually came into all of this. I became a fan when it was the mistreatment allegations against a lot of different idols. So I kind of was learning about these people through the lens of that they might potentially be school bullies, And so my first impression of just, for example, G-Idol was that Soojin was a bully in school. And so it kind of tainted that initially for me, but I got over it, and now I'm I would never say I'm like a Neverland or a Carrot or an Army, or I'm not any of those things. But when I first heard about G-Idol, it was through the lens of Soojin's bullying accusations, and it's kind of obviously come with time that we now understand that yeah, she could have done that stuff, but it's been such a long time that there isn't really evidence to unfortunately prove any of that. And it is one of the, I would say these scandals, the ones where it's wow, I cannot believe this person might have done that. It is kind of sad because a lot of the time a lot of the idols were in their 20s, in their early 20s, so school was quite a while ago for them, and they've perhaps been doing idol life for a long time. They've been a trainee, they were a trainee before that, and it might have been a long time since they did any of those things, and being able to prove it and definitively say that like these people were bullies is very, very hard. And I have obviously the most amount of sympathy for bullies, not bullies, but bullying victims and also bullies themselves actually, because I was both. I'll be honest, I was bullied and I bullied a few people. And, you know, having been on both sides of the spectrum, neither of them feel nice because I was bullied for my looks and like because I was different to everyone else. I'm autistic, so obviously my brain operates in a completely different way to a lot of people. I'm not saying as an excuse, but yeah, I often kind of was wondering quietly to myself, like, what is actually wrong with me? Is there something that I can change about myself? And it wasn't anything that I had to change. Society had to change around me for me to be respected as an actual person. And that in itself kind of made me into a bully, into mistreating other people. And that is kind of a hard thing to reckon within myself, that like I could do that, because I've always kind of seen myself as a nice person. But kind of looking back on, you know, my time in secondary school, it being 10 years ago now, I did do those things. And I think maybe the people that I bullied might still have trauma from that. And, you know, I feel really bad about that. I genuinely do, because I was hurting, but that's no excuse to hurt other people. It's like the saying, hurt people hurt people. And I really do think that's true, because, you know, bullies who straight off bully are often hurting because of situations that go on at home, this sort of stuff. But like that doesn't give them an excuse to then go off and hurt other people. Like it's a reason, but it's not a permission. You know, it's an understanding, but it's not a permission giver to hurt people. You know, like you can see. Like if you listen to my episode all about my life, you might know a little bit more about like my story and stuff. But like I've been through a lot of different like some might say traumatic things in the Western world, you know, like first world problems, a lot of bad stuff. And, you know, that is like, yeah, I can understand why you would be a little bit finicky, but also it doesn't give you an excuse to hurt people. And it's like, well, yeah, no, I completely understand it does not, but I want there to be that like, yeah, no, that actually makes sense, but it's still not okay. And I'm like, yeah, I understand it's not okay, I just wanted you to know. And it's like, yeah, no, we know now. And for like that kind of aspect, I still carry the bullying that I had in school with me, and I'm still kind of trying to rationalize in my own mind that like these people who post these pictures online they might not be happy with their lives, and they might like look at mine and be like, oh, she looks so happy just posting whatever pictures. And they might think that, but they might also think like, oh my god, she's still so lame. I'm like, I know, man. And like seeing those people online, it's like, wow, I cannot believe that person is so successful, and yet I still live with my parents, like doing a podcast, you know, from the living room. And you know, it's in the same vein as like those people who, you know, said about the school mistreatment. They might see these idols. They might see like if Sujin bullied them, they might see Sujin on Music Bank and be like, I cannot believe she's successful. Like she bullied me in school. Like I cannot believe like she gets to, you know, have a life, whereas I'm just like sad and depressed. And it's like, yeah, no, I fully understand like that, but being on both sides of it, the victim does deserve to have a life and not feel bad about themselves, but the bully also deserves to not be in pain and to have a life of their own and to try and make a successful life out of themselves and not kind of be at the beck and call of what their victim did. I don't know. It's a really weird thing that I'm like trying to explain here. Not really able to. It's sort of, I guess, sort of like on the same vein as like The Glory, right? Okay, very, 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 very famous K-drama from 2020. God, when was it? It's not 2021. 2023? just looking on Netflix, because I was gonna watch it, but then I thought like maybe that would be a little bit too much for me. I don't know, because like I was never the victim of like physical bullying. It was a lot more psychological. So like I don't really want to watch like that sort of stuff, even though I do know that it happened. The glory, isn't it? Yeah. Glory. Tell me, please. Oh, wow, there's a lot of weird things on Netflix that we're finding out today. It's like there was the theory of that like this woman who was the victim of the 2022 even. Like the show, or at least like the real life story, was that like the victim's bully is actually a nurse. And it's like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. You don't want them to like, it's like I can't understand why you wouldn't want them to be successful, or at least like have a life. Like I do kind of understand as to if I was in hospital for whatever reason and my nurse, you know, potentially was a bully in school, I wouldn't want them to treat me, and I wouldn't want them to, you know, still be a nurse. But then where do you want them to work? Where do you want them to be successful? Like that person shouldn't be not successful in their life and be able to live their own life because in school. It's a massive moral dilemma that I feel kind of in this situation, that you don't want that person who caused you torment to be successful, because now you can't live your life like you wanted to. But it's like that person is still a person at the end of the day, and that they should be able to be successful. It's a very weird thing. It's a very strange thing to kind of try and like come to terms with and like organize in my little pea brain. But yeah, it's a weird situation. And it's like when you see these idols who have been accused, it's like, well, X idol could never, like Mingyu from 17 could never. And it's like, yeah, Mingyu from 17, you know, he appears to be a very nice person, but he's 6 foot. 6 foot people can be scary. No. I'm trying to say it like, we don't know anything about the people that, you know, are famous. We know basics, kind of the basic stuff that they're willing to show us, but we really don't actually know the idols in which we support, which is actually a perfect segue. I love that word. I didn't even know it's like actually technically spelt a completely different way, because you would think a segue, obviously, like the toy. Like, I'm just gonna plug my laptop in a minute. Now, if you would think it's SEGUAG, segue, or I think that's how you spell it. I don't actually know, but no, it's like SEGUE, which I think is like so cool. But yeah, it is that. But yeah, so on the 28th of August 2024, I was just happily sitting on this sofa. I was chatting the shit with my aunt and uncle and my nanny, just having a grand old little birthday celebration for me. When I went on my phone and I went onto Soompi and I saw breaking news: SM Entertainment announces the departure of Taeil due to scandal. And I was like, say what? But just say what? And I was like, shit, like I got that like gut drop moment. I was like, no, this is not good at all. And like I was looking all over the media, or at least like the media that's made for like international K-pop stands, and it was like like former NCT Taeil has been kicked out of the group due to an unspecified sexual scandal. And I was like, this isn't good. And like there's been a few like different rumors about it, and like saying that you know, it was a minor, which has been proven wrong. But police have said it's an overage woman, so the age of 18, and that like he got a tracker on this poor girl's phone and like has been harassing her for 6 years and started when she was 12 and stuff. And it's like, okay, this is getting a little bit too out of hand, and which is why I've not commented on it actually. But what we do know from like SM and the police themselves is that the file was reported in June. Some were notified of it in mid-August, and he was, is it indicted? Sorry, no, I say these jokes, I'm not religious. I actually went to a religious school, went to a Church of England school for 7 years of my life. No. I also learnt RE for another 3 years, which was definitely something. It was of an interesting 9 years of my life learning about religion when I really didn't know what to think and feel about that. But I mean, the Tails thingy is like, it's so strange. I'm like, wow, him? Like, when I heard it, I was like, him? Really? Tail? Seriously? But then I'm like, there's a saying actually. There's a saying in, I think it's one saying in England, or it might just be a saying in general, I don't know, of that you've always got to be careful of the quiet ones because those ones are willing to do some bad stuff. Or it's like a saying along those lines. I don't actually remember what it was. And I feel like that applies here to the disgusting degree. Because I think maybe he might have done it because he's not treated well in SM. I don't know. I'm not speculating on anything. I'm just speaking on my asshole, the usual thing that I do on here. But like, you wouldn't catch like Mark perhaps doing it just because of the amount of work he has to do all the time, and like the fact that he is in 127 Dream, he was in Super M, he's like booked and busy, like he has so much to do. So like you don't have time, but it's like, sometimes these people, they make those time, and clearly Taeil made that time. And it's like it's trying to differentiate the person that you knew with the person that they truly are, which I think a lot of people are like having difficulty with. Like the phrase "separate the art from the artist" comes up a lot in these situations, and it's like for some things, yes, you can do that. Harry Potter, perfect example in this situation. J.K. Rowling, she is a horrible person. What's that blooming phrase thing? I know so much about so much, and I know nothing about a lot of different things. She basically says a lot of bad stuff about the LGBTQIA community, which, here we are. Who doesn't? What public figure doesn't at some point in their life? Sorry. But like, Harry Potter is so big that we can differentiate between the person who made it, J.K. Rowling, and the whole entire Wizarding World franchise, because it is so much bigger than what J.K. Rowling ever did. Like, I don't really like reading the books, but I can watch the films because the films are kind of based off of the books. They aren't exact one-to-one copies of the books. And like, you can't really do that. Taeil, or jail. I love that meme, jail. You can't really do that with Taeil because he is so intertwined in 127. He was the main vocalist. It would be easy for SM to remove, this is gonna sound bad, but like Utah, Utah, because at like their debut, he hardly got any lines. He's slowly getting more lines as they get older. That's good. And like, they did remove Win-Win, right? They moved him to Wavy, so they can do that and it won't affect the group too much. But if you remove Taeil, it's really gonna make it difficult for the listener and the experience and being able to, how like Stray Kids, they removed Woojin and re-recorded all the songs. Like, it still works. You can still listen to the old songs, not really hear him. Like, you can obviously actually physically hear him, but like, it doesn't feel as like smack in your face as it does for Taeil. And it feels like as though he's just like, well, fuck you all, I'm doing whatever I want to do. Like, if SM ain't gonna give me lines, then I'm gonna commit a crime. I'm gonna potentially harass a poor girl who quite frankly doesn't deserve it. I don't know, we don't know actually anything about the victim other than that she's over 18 and that she's obviously a girl. Like, we know nothing. And honestly, I prefer not to know anything because I do not want to know what he's done. All I want to know is the outcome of the police investigation and to never see his face ever again in the public's eye because of what he did. I mean, going back to the bullying thing, I mean, like, sometimes it's difficult to like kind of decide where the thin line of like retribution is for people who commit these things, because like at the end of the day, bullying is like a junior form of harassment, and like harassment's a crime. So is bullying a crime, but you do it when you're younger? But then like in the same vein, it's like kid murderers, you know, like we punish kid murderers because they committed an adult crime. Is bullying an adult crime because it's essentially harassment? But it's like, where do we draw the line? I don't know. It's a weird situation. I don't know. All I know is that Taeil's not in NCT anymore, and there have been quite a few developments, kind of interesting ones. Taeil Instagram is private now. He privated it sometime yesterday, so on the 4th of September, and you know, he's losing followers by the day, which I think is very, very good. We should not be supporting people who are willing to do that stuff. So yeah, Taeil, we do not support that bastard who said that. And lastly, what we're going to be talking about is Yoongi from BTS SUGA's DUI scandal. So there's been quite a few pieces of like CCTV footage claiming to be Yoongi from BTS driving his little mobility scootery bike with a saddle, with a seat thingy floating around on the internet. And we have actually now gotten a piece of CCTV which actually catches Yoongi on his bike thingy falling off and being helped up by the police officers. And we do know his blood alcohol level, and it's like it's 0.0227, I think, off the top of my head. I think that's the number. And like netizens apparently have like researched that number, and like Yoongi would be like on the floor, like unable to move, apparently, if he had that much alcohol in his blood. So I wonder. So, well, granted, I mean, like, blood, the amount of alcohol in your blood and, like, alcohol tolerance is different for everyone. I don't drink, so I don't know if I'm a lightweight or a hardweight, is it? I don't know how much I can drink before I'm, like, toasty and, like, needing to go to bed. I don't know. 21 years old, never drink. So I don't actually know, but from what it sounds like, I'm like, that doesn't seem like a number that someone's blood alcohol can be that isn't like in the hospital severely unwell. I don't know. I mean, it could be true. But I mean, paid the fine. He's being investigated by the police. He's apologized twice, and you know, he's trying, and I'm like, Girly Pop, he wasn't on the road from what we can tell. He's, you know, done the punishment. He's now being investigated. You see where I'm going with this, Girly Pop? I'm like, just let the poor man do this stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too optimistic at this point because the scandals only get worse, you know? Because I mean, scandals that have gone on. Coachella with Le Seraphim. Terrible performance, which I'm like, yeah, fair enough, you're on Coachella's stage. Jeez Louise. Like, no wonder they're a bit nervous and unable to sing properly. Oh my god, you're dancing and singing at the same time. Even I would sound bad. I can do neither, but my god, I would sound as though I'm being murdered. I don't know. Or Cube Entertainment, you know, their mistreatment of G-Idol. Like, nothing new. Absolutely nothing new at this point. You know, we already know this. And then we have Yoongi's DUI scandal. It's like, well, I've kind of been on the fence. I'm like, yeah, bad Yoongi, but then also you did pay the fine. So good Yoongi? I don't know what's going on there. And then we have Taeil's sex scandals case. I'm like, that is an actual crime now. We are kind of getting into like the actual legitimate crimes here. Not so good. Okay. Lucas coming back. He came back, tried to explain what he did, but also wasn't explaining what he did. His solo debut tanked, so that, well, that wasn't really a scandal, that was more or less just happenstance, you know. What has actually happened in K-pop scandals 2024? Oh my god. Is this done? Yeah, 2024. Let's have a look. Yeah, we got Taeil. I never know how to say his name proper. I feel like it's Taeil, but yeah. I forgot about this one. Former Adore CEO Min Hee Jin versus Hybe. Yeah, she was kicked out, and rightly so, because she is a weirdo. I don't like it, and I just want it to be. So he, Ryu, Junyo, and Hyeri. What? Oh my god! I did not hear about this. NCT Haechan and Johnny's rumored fivesome. Yeah, this was like a really, really weird one where I just didn't even blink an eye at it. Yeah, in June, them two were accused of sleeping with three women, two of which were reportedly fans of NCT, because they posted a series of pictures alleging of Haechan and Johnny, and the women claiming that the idols had a fivesome, and they could have drunken taken drugs. How fun! I forgot about this one. Yeah, yeah. How fun. Then we got the seraphim. Oh, and then the smoking. Oh, the smoking scandals. My feelings on smoking are simple, have always been simple, and will continue to be simple for all eternity. I don't care if you smoke, as long as you don't do it in my face, you know. Otherwise, we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna have a problem if you start trying to smoke in my face. Yeah, can we find any more scandals? Also, I don't even want to talk about the Min Hee Jin thing because I'm honestly over it. Yeah, the paps from the Met Gala with Stray Kids. Again, I didn't even look at that because I don't give a damn. I do not care because people will be discriminated for all something. You know, we've gone so far, but I feel like it's just people's unfortunate views, and we cannot change that. Maybe it will change, hopefully. Maybe it will change in the next 50 or something years, but I do not care. Okay. And Bangi Dam from Treasure, and formerly of Treasure Studio, being visible in a not safe for work video. Oh, lovely. Actor uploaded a video that might have been Damn Studio. How wonderful. I absolutely love these things. If you can't tell, I'm being very sarcastic. My lordy Lou, I don't like it at all. You know, it's these things that just make me so tired. It's like the scandals are less, I think, than they were last year, maybe, but they're a lot more dramatic. Yeah. Like, yeah, in the Hyuna and Bloomin' her fiance, because they're getting married. Yeah, I forgot about Hyuna. Tried to forget about Hyuna. Oh, and then the Seraphim comeback outfit for Eugen. Yeah. And the scores. Yeah. Oh, yeah. How fun. Yeah. I forgot about that. Nepotism. Yeah, of course, nepotism with Anton. Anton and his dad. And Kayan Bahie. Yeah. Yeah. How fun. Yeah. Yeah. That makes me tired. Okay, how fun. Also, my hair's being weird. I might wash it again tonight. I don't know, I'm just trying to show now. Anyway, that's been scandals and why I'm tired of K-pop. If I'm going to be honest, I don't really like talking about scandals, mainly because of the fact that I just don't have opinions that are really worth people's time to listen to, like both Yoongi and Taeil scandals. When I found out about them, I was just like miming eating popcorn, watching all the chaos unfold. Because at the end of the day, our opinions don't actually matter in the grand scheme of things, because bad people will continue to be bad and do bad things. Though sometimes some of those people will sometimes be artists, and we cannot do anything against that because, you know, we don't know everything that goes on in these people's lives. So hopefully, you know, the people that you know, I've talked about on here, not scandalous, don't do the scandalous things, but you never know. But yeah, thank you as always for listening, watching, or whatever it is that you do. I don't really mind. If you want to, feel free to comment. I don't mind if you don't. It doesn't really affect me. Yeah, so that has been me. And I will talk to you guys again whenever it is that I will upload another episode. Bye!